Hey guys, before we started the actual Dylan Groves trial, or the Jessica and Daniel trial, though I call it the Dylan Groves case for reasons I don't want to give them any more airtime. Andrea Bowling, the foster mother, actually gave kind of an interview and she went on to do a lot of legal footwork for foster children and sort of making it safer for foster children, putting in safeguards so that what happened to Dylan hopefully will not happen to other children going forward. That there will be more safety features and hopefully the child services will do their daggone jobs. But I felt like before we got into the case, we should really give his let's be honest, we should really give Dylan's mom because this woman was probably the only person to give Dylan the actual feeling of having a loving, caring, you know, selfless parent on this earth. And even though that was only for 12 days, he got it. And, when she's on the stand, you feel the heartbreak, the loss, the devastation that you would assume that the parents would feel, but they don't. They sit there cold and stone faced. And that is why they should have a one-way ticket to Snake Island. But again, that's why I'm not a judge. So I figured we would go over this article because it does lay out, you know, what she did to protect other children and kind of her feelings. And I really felt like she deserved to have, kind of her voice, her time to shine because, you know, this affected her deeply. I can't imagine falling in love with a child, knowing he's going to be put in a dangerous situation and knowing there is nothing that you can do to basically save this child. So this is from the Scioto Voice. It is a local newspaper and it's called A Mother Left Behind. Uh, it is sort of a letter to the editor, kind of, an opinion piece. Being a mother is learning about strengths you didn't know you had and dealing with fears you didn't know existed. That's a quote by Linda Wooden. Andrea Bowling remembers the moment vividly. Quote, I was at school teaching. I received a phone call from Scioto County Children's Services, which is a foster parent, isn't unusual on a Monday or on the morning of January 15th. I was asked to pick up a baby from the hospital that had been born drug addicted. I replied yes, absolutely. I went to the hospital that evening where I received 4 hours of training learning how to take care of this baby while tests were still being run on him due to his smallness, Bowling recalled. That infant was Dylan Groves. After taking a leave from her school district in order to care for the newborn baby boy, Bowling worked her hardest to help relieve his struggles from withdrawal symptoms, holding him close as possible and swaddling him in blankets to keep him from shaking. She had been given the charge of caring for two foster children previously, but she knew in her heart that this was different and special. Dylan was in Bowling's loving and protective care for 12 days. The Scioto County Children's Service called me after 10 days, actually, and told me that, out of the blue, Dylan was going to be reunified with his father. I immediately asked them to reconsider. I basically begged them to change their minds. I did not believe that Dylan was ready to go home where there had been previous drug use. I was told that the Children's Services had made their decision, even though I requested another meeting to discuss this based on how fragile Dylan was and the severity of his withdrawals. They ignored my requests and had me bring him to the office on Monday morning. We waited while his father was 25 minutes late for the pickup. At the time of reunification, Daniel Groves was ordered by Child Services not to allow the mother, Jessica Groves, to be around Dylan. According to Bolin, quote, it soon became obvious that she was around him, end quote. According to Montgomery County Coroner Kent Harshbarger's final report, Dylan was murdered sometime during the following 2 months. Quote, that day was so hard, a tearful Bowling said. I remember talking with Dylan's dad, telling him some of the things, like how to care for him, and before they left, I asked to kiss Dylan's head one more time, and he said yes. In her heart, Bowling hoped that wouldn't be the last time she would give the little boy that kiss, and she spoke of some measures she had taken to make sure Dylan would always know just how special he was to Bowling and her family. I gave his dad a Bible to give to Dylan for when he was old enough to read it. I also gave him tons of formula diapers and a gray blanket that he always loved to cuddle up in with me. I also gave Daniel a letter. It described how much I loved Dylan and how precious he was to me, and I would like to be a part of his life by knowing of the milestones he would reach during his life. I even gave them my phone number, but I never received a call. Once a child is returned to the birth parents, child services agencies will not give out information to a foster parent. It was a very emotional reunification. A sense of foreboding suffocated Bowling as the man and his infant son left the office. Quote, I expressed that to the Children's Services before the unification which fell on deaf ears. I knew this wasn't supposed to happen, to the point that I had a prayer group praying for Dylan every day before the reunification. We prayed for Dylan for months and months until they found him in that well. The same sense of worry drove Bowling to ask the Children's Services on a number of occasions to ask if Dylan was okay during the following months. I was always told that he was doing well and not to hinder the reunification process by asking about him, she informed the Scioto Voice. Just as vividly, she recalls meeting Dylan for the first time. She remembers the minute she learned of Dylan's fate. Quote, I screamed for a solid half hour, and I cried. I still cry. Every single day, with tears running down her face, Bowling spoke of the gratitude she felt for her family and friends that came to her side immediately. I was angry, sad, and so mad. I felt helpless. I was devastated. The grief has been so profound for Bowling that she lights a candle every day beside a photograph of the beloved baby in his memory. However, out of that crushing grief, a seed was planted. After I was able to process and accept that he was gone, my brother and my sister-in-law and a good friend decided we were going to do something to make a change. We got together a few weekends in a row and developed a plan to pass Dylan's Law. The idea devised focused on making serious and lasting changes to the reunification process in Ohio. Our state representative, Brian Baldridge, is working on this, along with our new state senator, Terry Johnson. We will not stop until productive changes have been made. Now, this was in 2019. I am going to check to see if this has passed, but let's continue. The only thing that can give me any peace is in knowing that Dylan's life will be used to save other children, Bowling said, struggling to keep her emotions in check. When Daniel and Jessica's murder trial was pushed back, I was afraid this would be forgotten to an extent. I don't want this to be forgotten. Changes need to be made now. Dylan's short life deserves a purpose and to have a meaning. Bowling, who has been an educator for 18 years, is currently caring for another baby, a little girl, and the mother to a number of children in our area told The Voice she will be returning to work soon. The events of this year has impacted her as a teacher, too. Every day is a gift. People do not know what some of the kids in our county have to go home to. We try to protect them, but it's a circumstance where we do our best and leave it in God's hands. But it's not enough, and she's not sure things will ever truly be the same for her and her circle. Quote, "My heart literally aches every day for Dylan. My Lord gives me strength and the peace in the knowledge that I will get to see him again. I believe he's in the arms of angels now, and that gives me some peace." Bowling said serenely. Even with the heartbreak that she carries, and that indeed all familiar with this story carries, Bowling believes that being a foster parent is a calling and with a high nature and still a worthwhile endeavor. I want to say to anyone with the best of intentions, if you feel led to become a foster parent, please do. We need good foster parents who will answer the call to love these babies. They need us to love them and to be their voice, to be Dylan's voice, to make sure that 12 days is never long enough again. So let me stop sharing this and see if Dylan's Law actually became a thing. Um, Dylan's Law, Ohio. You know, I could have done this prior too. Okay, present, share screen. Okay, this is in August 2021. Ohio senator announces bill regarding substance exposed infants. So it looks like there was some follow through. So let's read about this. I mean, I am actually impressed that there was some follow through. I I know it's very shocking that senators will actually follow through because sometimes it seems like they go to Senate and, forget what the heck they were going there for. It's like when I go into a room and I forget why the heck I'm there. But I'm not, voted to go into my room to forget why I'm, searching for my glasses. State Senator Terry Johnson, a Republican from McDermott, recently introduced State Senate Bill 216, also known as Dillon's Law, which would establish requirements for the parents of an infant who has been exposed to a substance. They requirements that must be met before being reunited. This stems from the horrible and shocking case in Scioto County with Dylan Groves. Under this bill, parents of substance exposed infants must complete a course on caring for a newborn experiencing alcohol or drug withdrawal, complete an inpatient rehabilitation program, and undergo and be approved through a home study before being reunited with a child. Now, all that is to say, why in the actual F wasn't this an actual requirement before this? These are all basic no-brainer things that should have been in place before this. Why do we need a law? Why children's services? You have one effing job. Why weren't these basic common sense ideas put in place before? Why did we need a law? Why? Upon reunification, the parents would also be required to complete several requirements, including a visit from a PCSA caseworker once a month for 3 months, regular monthly examinations by healthcare professionals. Yeah, the only problem with that is that are they gonna actually do their jobs? Because remember, Scioto County sent over, care workers that didn't actually pick up the baby or undress them or anything. I'm sorry I'm getting heated, but, you pass these laws and requirements, they're only as good as the people that actually do them. And regular monthly examination by healthcare professionals and regular alcohol and drug testing. This legislation would not apply to infants that are exposed to substances as a result of the mother's medical assisted treatment. So, you know, I don't know if this has passed yet. This is in 2021. Let's see if it actually passed because thus far, it seems, I mean, this is the fairly new one, so it has gone to the General Assembly. I will have to do more research to see if it has actually, let's see, uh, signed into law. No, it just looks like it's been put in to assembly. Now, it doesn't look like it's been fast tracked or anything. It looks like it's in a committee. Um, Now the problem with this is they generally will go into a committee and they'll finagle the rules. There's going to be a lot of, well, this is too mean for the parents, or, they've got the bill there. That's good. This should have been fast tracked. This should have been fast tracked. This is common sense stuff. But again, a bill is only as good as the people that are actually going to put it into practice. And if these things were not in practice already, I am already ticked off. I am already ticked off. The fact that, again, family services were A-OK with these dirtbag parents getting this child back when they knew they were dirtbags is maddening. So I don't hold out a lot of hope. I am glad that this, wonderful woman is still taking foster children. She is so strong to continue to open her heart and her home to foster children. I commend her for that. I commend her for taking her pain and trying to enact a law that will help other children. I hope it gets out of committee hell, but again, it's only as good as the people that will actually be doing the work. And if the, actual workers don't do their jobs, I mean, again, you had a worker go in there and not even pick up the baby and check for injuries. These are big missteps. And, what is the department, what are these child services places doing? We have seen more and more cases. The, Hernandez case. There are entire channels on YouTube, dedicated to, child services missteps where they continue to let children stay in houses that are markedly dangerous and lead to the child no longer being alive. We need reformation. We need to cut the bloat. We need to get people in there that are doing what they're supposed to do and figure some stuff out, because these things are not, these child protective places are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, it is honestly that Princess Bride, like child protections. I don't think you understand what that word means. And the truth is that every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. These parents obviously did not deserve the gift of this baby. And, you know, ugh, just ugh. Any hoozle, I am just past this law, Ohio. I'm gonna have to do some further research. I might have to amend and addendum this video, because maybe they did pass it and I just don't see it. My interneting skills are about this big. Hopefully they'll get this big by the end of the year, and I'll learn how to zoom in my computer camera so, all my shenanigans and junk aren't in the background. But I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I know this isn't a great subject matter, but I believe that Andrea Bowling deserved a voice. She had turned her pain into something that hopefully will be something productive and will protect other children, and I think that is lovely, and the fact that she is still opening her home to other children is amazing, and I commend her. It's not something that I don't know that I would be able to do if I had faced a similar situation. So I commend her. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys. I will see you in a little bit. Bye.